we're going to be learning about measurement conversions. You know, it's such a fun thing to learn about, but we got to do it. So that's what we're going to start with today. With measurement conversions, there are two main units that we're going to be focusing on. There's the SI unit, which is the Système International de Unité. And the other one is going to be the Imperial Units. So that's like feet, yards, and all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to start with the SI part. SI is everything that ends in meter. So we have millimeter, centimeter, meter, and kilometer. There are more than this, but these are the ones we're going to focus on because these are the ones that we mostly use in our mathematics. So let's start with the basic one. 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. The second one that we have is 1 meter is 100 centimeters, right? And then 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. A centimeter to millimeters. So let's say we have 20 centimeters. And to get from a centimeter to a millimeter, we need to times it by 10. So that would be 200 millimeters. So when we're converting from a centimeter to a millimeter, we're going to do the centimeter times 10, which will give us our millimeter, which is an easy formula to remember. Next, we're going to look at a meter to centimeter. So a meter to a centimeter. Let's give us 5 meters. To go from a millimeter to a centimeter, we're going to have to times it by 100. So that would be 500 centimeters. So a meter times 100 will give us a centimeter. Next, we're going to look at kilometers to meters. So let's say we have 3 kilometers. So for that, we're going to times that by 1,000. Okay? So that will equal 3,000 meters. So from a kilometer to a meter, we need to times it by 1,000. Okay? So we learned how to get from centimeters to millimeters, meters to centimeters, kilometers to meters. Now we want to go the opposite way. So we're going to start with a meter to a kilometer. So let's say we had 2,000 meters. 2,000 meters. And we want to divide that by 1,000 to get 2 kilometers. Therefore, a meter divided by 1,000 will give us kilometers. Okay? So now we have that one. Now we want to switch it up. We want to go from centimeters to meters. Okay? So let's say we had 250 centimeters. To get from a centimeter to a meter, we want to divide again. And we want to divide it by 100. So that will give us 2.5 meters. Okay? So from that, we know that a centimeter divided by 100 will give us our meters, okay? Now we have one more to look at. Let's look at millimeters to centimeters. And this one's kind of like what we had before. So if we had 35 millimeters, what are we going to do? We want to divide. So we're going to divide that by 10, which will give us 3.5 centimeters. So from that we know that millimeters divided by 10 will give us our centimeters. Okay, now we're going to look at imperial. Okay? So for imperial, there are 4 things we're going to focus on. We're going to look at inch, foot, yard, and mile. Okay? That 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Okay? 1 yard is 3 feet, which is also 36 inches. Okay? And 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Let's start with a foot to an inch. So, say we have 2 feet. To get from a foot to an inch, we want to times it by 12, which will give us 24 inches. Okay? So a foot times 12 will give us our inches. Okay? Now, we're going to look at yard to feet. So, say we had 4 yards. We're going to times that by 3 to get our feet. So 4 times 3 is 12 feet. Okay? So a yard times 3 will give us our feet. Okay? Now on to our last one. We're going to go from mile to yard. Okay? So, let's say we had 3 miles. To get from a mile to a yard, we got to times it by that ugly number of 1,760, which will give us 5,280 yards. Okay? So miles times 760 will give us our yards. Okay? Go on the opposite way. So let's say we're going from a yard to a mile. Okay? So let's say we had 3,650 yards. Okay? Just to go from a yard to a mile, we're going to need to divide it. And we're going to divide it by this 1,760, which will give us 2.02 miles. So a yard divided by 1,760 will give us our miles. Okay? Now, we're going to look at a foot to a yard. Okay? So, let's have foot to yard. Say we had 96 feet. To get from feet to yard, we're going to divide. And we're going to divide by 3, which gives us 32 yards. Okay? So, feet divided by 3 will give us a yard. Now for our last one. Let's look at inches to feet. Let's say we had 64 inches. And to get from an inch to feet, we need to divide by 12, which equals 5.33 feet. Okay? So an inch divided by 12 will give us our feet. Okay? And that finishes the portion on simple SI conversions and imperial conversions on their own.